I actually started here at Aurora Central back in 2006. Was the kind of a varsity assistant my first year. I graduated college, spent a year at Yorkville High School, came over here in 2006, served 1 year as a varsity assistant. 2007, they moved me to the head frosh soft coach. Past 3 years, that's what I've been. Last year, I also doubled as the sophomore or as the varsity special teams coordinator. This past December, the head coach here, Mike Curry, stepped down. At that point in time, our principal and athletic director promoted me to the head coach. So this will be going on my 5th year here at Aurora Central. Obviously, first year taking over the program.
Now, Coach, you've you know, it's a program that hasn't had a lot of success recently, but there's history there that they've had winning seasons in the past decades. What are some things you have planned to help start to turn things around? No matter how long that may take, what are some things that are in place to start that process?
Sure. I think to an extent we've already tried getting some people excited. You know, as soon as I got the word that it was me and we were going forward, we sat down with the kids right away. First thing we tried to do is kind of flush the toilet on the memories. You know, there were some times where, you know, a lot of the kids, you know, felt beat down, felt that they couldn't be successful. First thing we did was try to eliminate that kind of memory and tell them, hey, we're fresh moving forward. There's no carryover in terms of how you were perceived previously. So that's how we kind of handled inside the building was, hey, we're fresh going forward. I'm new, you're new. Let's go at it. Kind of did the same thing. I met with members of our alumni association, members of our booster club at each of their individual meetings to kind of introduce myself. A lot of them knew me obviously from being in the school, but had a chance to specifically say, hey, here I am now. I'm your head football coach. Here's the plan for how we're going to attack going forward, and that was looked upon very favorably. Also, then the interesting piece we had is I set up a meeting with alumni football players. Brought them back, wanted them a chance to hear about the program, the direction that we're going, the plan for getting us back to where Aurora Central once was. And I think that was received very well. A lot of questions on it, a good turnout. People who since then shot emails saying, hey, haven't been able to be there. Any chance you can send me the PowerPoint presentation? You know, and really all that was a chance to sit down and say, hey, here's who I am, here's some of the assistant coaches, here's what we're doing from our strength program to our summer camps, et cetera, for how we are going to get back to where we were, and then namely to support and how to get involved. You know, that's a big thing too. I think, you know, sometimes some places have pushed people away and, hey, this is the football program only, and this is a bigger piece. You know, we're the second largest city in Illinois. There's a lot of people that want to support. There's a lot of people that want to have hands-on, and I think that's important to have moms and dads hands-on. You know, the kids, their brothers and sisters you'll see out there. We'll have water boys and water girls and that kind of stuff. Because I'm trying to make it more of a family type atmosphere to where a lot of people can get involved, support. So ultimately, when we do have the success, there's a lot of people that want to celebrate with us.
Now, if we talk about Friday nights, when it comes down to it, all these things you've said are great. It's a great plan for bringing people together and building excitement. And I, for one, think that building excitement can be half that battle.
Sure.
But you still have to play better football on Friday nights to win games. You play an extremely tough conference. What are some things you're doing or will be doing football specific to be better football players on Friday nights?
I think the biggest thing that we're currently doing, I mean, it's somewhat small in a sense, and it's kind of goofy that we're starting from the ground floor. We told these kids that first day when we had that meeting was, first and foremost, we were going to pride ourselves in being the best fundamental football team in the state. We're going to block well, we're going to tackle well, we're going to protect the football. It's little things that we'll be walking down the hallway and I'll see our right tackle coming down carrying all his books. Hey, set your books down, show me a good 3-point stance. Something like that to where, hey, now the kid's thinking, oh, do I remember how to do that? So that way, hey, if the kid's thinking about it now and he can do it, walking down the hallway of school come Friday night, that's one thing we don't have to worry about. Our plan is, our staff is starting to put together summer camp plans, and obviously as we get into August, 2-a-days, etc. We're going to spend a lot of time tackling circuits, blocking circuits, etc. The key piece is if our kids can be fundamentally sound, we feel that if our kids block well, if we tackle well, and we don't turn the football over, we're going to be competitive in every game, which is something this program hasn't been. There's been games where they've been competitive. There's been games where the game's over at the end of the first quarter. We feel the first step towards turning this program around is, one, we have to teach them how to be competitive. Then we need to teach them how to win. Then we need to learn how to handle winning and then take it to the next level. By teaching them how to compete and be competitive, we feel that we can block, tackle, and protect the football. We will be in every game. Come Friday nights, then it's jobs as coaches to come up with a scheme and then players to execute that scheme that can teach us how to win.
Coach, you went to Montini Catholic, which is one of the Illinois powerhouses. How much of the Montini program, the way they do things, whether it's practice time or X's and O's, whatever, how much of that will you be bringing into this place?
I think I don't want to say quite a bit, but I think it will be kind of closer to quite a bit. First and foremost, I mean the success that Montini has had. I had the privilege for playing with Coach Andriano, and I still respect him immensely. I still talk to him on a pretty regular basis. I bounce stuff off him all the time, as well as the other coaches there. Coach Bukowski, the defensive coordinator and wrestling coach there as well. I have a great relationship with. There's a lot of guys there that I bounce stuff off. I have great respect for a lot of people there. First and foremost is the success. I think not just Montini, but some of the coaches that we're bringing in. One are high character people that they care and concern for the kids first and foremost, but they also have a lot of great backgrounds. And I think that's the big thing is Montini's got a great background. Our running backs coach is a gentleman I played with at Montini, graduated with me. Our offensive line coach graduated from Providence Catholic. We got a younger guy from Driscoll. So guys that have been around success, guys that know the expectations for success. And I think that number one is what I've gotten most from Montini is what we need to do in meetings, in practice, in camp, walkthroughs, etc., to be successful. And we're going to portray those expectations to our kids in hopes that they pick up on that, and that will lead us, to a great deal of success. There's a lot of things that Montini has done for me as a vehicle for what I'm, where I currently am now, and I owe a great deal to that place. And so in that regard, will there be some similarities? Absolutely. I've always thought that Coach Andriano runs a great program, runs a first-class program, and ultimately that's the same type of deal that I'd like to get going here.
Coach, here you are now. You're a head football coach. It'll be your first year at such position. You're only 26 years old. Knowing what an incredible advantage experience is. There's a lot of veteran coaches out there. You're going to play against coaches. Your own high school coach, you're going to play against him. He's been coaching for over 25 years, I think, somewhere between 20 and 25 years. What are you doing to prepare yourself to help close that gap? Do you have anything in place, whether it's videos, books? What are some things you're doing to prepare yourself?
I think we've done a great job, the staff and some of the guys I mentioned that we brought in and their backgrounds of success. I think we're trying to educate ourselves. I actually watching some of the video blogs that you've done. Is really trying to educate ourselves now to bridge that gap between those people that may take the winters off. We're really trying to narrow it as best we can. I think a lot of the success that our staff members have had, and being able to touch base with their old high school coaches and other people that they may have played with, so on and so forth. Really using a lot of resources, be it the internet, books, videos, as you said, one-on-one conversations, clinics. I think we're doing a pretty good job. I'm certainly going to say, will there be? I guess the biggest thing, and what kind of I tried to really portray to the administration here, and that is that are there going to be some growing pains? I would fully expect that there'll be some times where we sit back at the end of a game or the end of a year and say, I think we could do that better here or there. Another thing, my hope first and foremost is that's strictly game management type deal. I want to make sure that we don't make mistakes in caring for the kids, for their safety. They're concerning for their off the field issues, their academic issues, and that's where I think we need to get it right the first time. On field stuff, between going to clinics, hearing speakers, and that kind of stuff. I think we're doing a pretty good job. We had good success. I think the old saying is that if you go hear someone speak, pull something out of at least one thing you can bring to your program with all the clinics and videos and that kind of stuff that we've seen. I think we've been able to piece some things together fundamentally as well as scheme wise and techniques, to give us a good success rate too. Now the big thing will be being able to translate what we know to those 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids.
Now, as the year gets going, and we always have a plan for our year, and how we hope that it will go. Let's say things don't go exactly how you had hoped. As taking over any program that has had some struggles in the past, it's a tall task. What kind of timeline maybe have you set for yourself personally as goals for this program, and what is the end goal?
Sure. I mean, I think at this point in time, everyone's going to tell you the end goal is obviously going to be to finish up at U of I on Thanksgiving weekend. Timeline-wise, I really believe the program was 1-8 last year, 0-9 the year before, 2-7 the year before that, and so on and so forth. With the schedule, as you mentioned, the conference is very tough. Right now, I look at that and I struggle to believe that setting, qualifying for the state playoffs as a realistic goal. I struggle to find anyone tell me that that's not realistic. And that's the big thing now is that these kids, you'd be surprised, and I'm only 26 years old, but already when you see what they, you tell them something and they may want to not believe you because they think they know better, but they're pretty impressionable. You tell them they can do something and they're going to find a way to get it done. So that's kind of where we're at for this year. We want them, now we're trying to just get them right this second to believe in themselves. Believe, hey, this can happen. Teams do go from such and such to the next year within a year. It certainly can be done. We're trying to get those kids to buy into that. In terms of down the road and the process, I feel we can make a significant improvement this year. I think with the numbers that we have coming through the programs, the lower levels right now, I do firmly believe that when our current freshmen become varsity players, that we could make, so long as a lot of those kids stay in the program, we don't have issues academically, et cetera, and we continue to get, great underclassmen in. I think we, in 3 years, we could, 2 to 3 years, somewhere in that range, we could make a significant run deep into the playoffs and hopefully compete for a state championship.
I believe a big part of every man's life should be to have somebody that can mentor him. And you're in the head coaching role now, a leader, big-time leadership role. As things get tough for people, they'll come to you. Mm-hmm. As things get tough for you, or you experience a tough time, or you're feeling under pressure, who's the man or individual that you're giving a phone call to for that encouragement? Do you have someone like that? Who fills that role for you?
I think I've always been pretty fortunate. My father, who will be on our staff, kind of a multitude of roles. I've always had a great relationship with him, football specific, as well as being a father. But he's always been, very deeply invested in the game. A lot of my passion came from growing up with him playing, coaching, etc. So I'm fortunate there to have someone that, at the end of the day is, one phone call away and knowing that he'll answer. Outside of the family, obviously, as we mentioned, Coach Andriano is someone that, has expressed, great interest in what we're trying to do. And so he's always said, hey, phone call. He's someone that I'm certainly never shy about either. And kind of calling and saying, hey, what do we know, or what do you think about this, or here's what we're going through. And we mentioned too, my sophomore coach from Montini, Joe Consalvo, is someone that's been involved in the game for quite some time. I still talk to him and bounce some ideas off of him as well. And I'm fortunate enough, Mike Curry is still in the building. He still had a lot of success, in his time as a high school coach with the state championships at Ackwen. So he's got a good head on his shoulders in terms of football that can certainly, certainly be approached and say, hey, I'm having some difficulties with this, or what do you think in this situation, or what would you do here or there and another. So I think those are great jumping points. And too, with the networking and that kind of stuff as well. And it's bringing in some of our other coaches who, like I said, have had success other places to be able to, if nothing else, just, hey, here's who I am. Can you help? My fiance has a great family friend, Jack McInerney, who's in the Hall of Fame. He's a longtime assistant coach at Downer South and Westmont and those kind of things. I haven't talked to as much probably as I would like to, but another one that every time I see him, asks how we're doing, if he can ever help, let me know. So there's a lot of people I think through networking and one being in my family and having personal relationships with that are I think eager to help if they can. And I definitely agree. I think that's a huge piece. It's very important. To be able to have someone that, oh no, what do I do now? I can turn to and say, hey, help me out. And I think that's a very important piece.
Now, my father was also a longtime coach, and I never had the privilege of coaching with him. You think that point was ever going to come on a Friday night where you just can't help but say, Dad, what do you think?
It happens quite a bit. I'll be really honest. He actually helped out the last couple of years on the headsets. I work more with the offense. It was one of those where he wasn't always around because he wasn't officially on the staff, but he was kind of more of a volunteer role here and there. So he didn't have all the terminology down. So he'd be said to, hey, why don't you do this? Well, we don't have that, Dad. So there's definitely times where now that we're fully on board, everything and the terminology is all the same. It's certainly, and it's nice to have someone too that you can trust and say what he's seeing is the same thing that I see. I know it can work, or what he may be seeing something else. It's certainly be a lot of fun. I think it. We kind of get into it at times on some different philosophy type stuff on the field, on the field philosophy items. But at the end, I know he's there for the same reason I'm there, and that's number one, the care and concern, for the kids, and two, to ultimately help us be as successful as possible. And so it'll be a lot of fun. I mean, I've had some experience, with him, coached with him for a year over at Yorkville as well. So it's good. At least nothing else that that Sunday afternoon cookout. There's at least something to talk about that'll keep us all laughing. So,
well, good. Well, thanks for joining us, Coach, and good luck in 2010.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Coach.
Ready?